I let you guys choose my entire February TBR, and I've literally never even heard of most of these books. So this is gonna be interesting. I'm sitting here and I'm reading the synopsis on Goodreads and I'm like, that's crazy. I try and make everyone read this so we can talk about the dolphins. And I'm guessing he chooses cats. Hey besties, welcome to or welcome back to my channel. You already know what we're talking about today. We are gonna be talking about my February TBR that was chosen by none other than you. And what's crazy is you guys didn't even know you were choosing my February TBR, and at the time I actually also didn't know that you were choosing my February TBR. So let me explain. Basically, I asked you guys on my Discord, which if you're not a part of my book club on Discord, the link is always down below. Sometimes I do have problems with the link not working, which is really annoying, but if you want to join my book club and the link doesn't work, just comment down below or shoot me a DM and I will get you a new link. But I asked over on my Discord for basically you guys to give me your 5-star reads for a reading vlog that I want to film, which, spoiler alert, sometime this month you're gonna be getting a reading vlog of me reading a good portion of these books because you guys rated them 5 stars. And at the time I was not planning on that being my entire TBR for the month. However, you guys gave me so many recommendations, and then when I went to look up these books, because I had never even heard of like basically 95% of the books you guys said, I found so many in that list that sounded so intriguing that I just was like, oh, I need to read this. This sounds so good. But there's more than enough for that one vlog, so it's just gonna be my TBR for the month. So that's what we're gonna be doing. And yeah, I don't own most of these books, so you're just gonna get a picture on the screen of what it is because I don't own them. I'm either going to borrow them from my library, either physically or from Libby, maybe see if they're on Kindle Unlimited, or get them on my Kindle or physically from the store if I can't get it the other two options. And maybe I'll get 1 or 2 on Audible because I do have a few credits to use up. So with that being said, let's talk about the books on my TBR. So the first book on my TBR for the month is called #Murder Trending by Gretchen McNeil. This is a YA mystery thriller dystopian novel basically about this society that quite literally live streams the executions of some of the most infamous felons in this society. That sounds insane, right? Because I'm sitting here and I'm reading the synopsis on Goodreads and I'm like, that's crazy. What the right? Like, I know you're thinking that with me. This book has only 11,390 reviews on Goodreads, which is still a good amount of reviews, but in the grand scheme of how many reviews books typically have on Goodreads, that's pretty low. So I'm really excited to read this because A, the synopsis just hooked me immediately with that, but also the fact that this is also a book that's like not super well known and not very many people have reviewed it on Goodreads. I'm so excited to give it a read. And did I forget to mention that our main character D is at risk of being the next person to be executed live on this app? But she didn't do it. I'm gonna leave you with that. Let's move on. Okay, the next book on my TBR is actually one that I have heard of, and I'm sure a lot of you have heard of it too because I feel like it's really been blowing up recently, and that is Beartown by Frederick Bachman. This is a contemporary fiction book, which is something that I have not read in so long. I genuinely do not remember the last time I read that genre. Typically, I'm either reading romance, fantasy, romantasy, and sometimes here and there a mystery thriller. So this is gonna be really outside of my comfort zone as far as genre goes, but I'm really excited to read this book because I have recently seen so many people hyping this series up. I believe it is a trilogy with 3 books, and I've seen so many amazing reviews, and in one of Sarah's most recent reading vlogs, she actually read the 3rd book in this trilogy, and just seeing how deeply she loves this series and the characters in it has made me so excited and really want to read these books. So when one of you said that this was one of your 5-star reads and you wanted me to read it, I had to add it to the list. I'm so excited. I feel like recently I've been seeing like a surge of people on BookTube and Bookstagram reading a lot of his work and just loving it. So I'm so excited to see what the hype is about and like what his writing is and like if it's going to affect me emotionally the way that I've seen it do to so many others. I also know literally like nothing about this book and this series and the universe in general. The only thing I know is that this is like a hockey town and the hockey team is like very big into the plot of the story, but that's all I know. I don't know any of the characters' names, nothing, and I'm so excited to go into it blind. I'm just so excited, and I'm really glad that one of you said this book because I think that like I'm at the right point in my life right now to pick up a book that is more of a general fiction and just, I don't know, I have a really good feeling that I'm gonna love it. So I'm very excited. Next up, I actually own this book physically because this is a book that has been on my radar for a couple years and has been on my physical TBR for a few months now, and that is Say You Swear by Megan Brady. That says Brandy. Megan Brandy, that's the name. Like I was saying, I've had this book on my physical TBR for a few months and it's been on my radar for a really long time, but would you believe me when I said that I actually have no idea what this book is about other than it is a sports romance and more particularly football. That's all I know. I literally know nothing about this. I don't know the tropes, the plot, nothing. And I do want to keep it that way. I love going into books blind, and I am definitely someone that does love a sports romance. I feel like there actually hasn't been a sports romance I've read that I've hated. I think I fear I eat them up. It's really annoying of me, but I do fear I eat them up. So I am really excited to read this one. I feel like I have just seen so many incredible reviews about this book, and I feel like with a romance book, it's not super typical, especially for a sports romance, for that to actually like hit people's soul. But I feel like I have seen a lot of people say that this book has really hit their soul, and that sounds really weird, but I'm going with it anyway. So I'm really, how many times have I said I'm excited to read this? And probably the 2 books prior, so many times. But I am just that. The next book is Today, Tonight, and Tomorrow by Rachel Lynn Solomon. This is actually a book I've seen at the bookstore almost every time I've gone because I feel like it's just always right there looking me dead in my eyes at Barnes & Noble in the young adult section. And it's not something that I've ever gravitated towards the cover, read the synopsis, like I've just never felt gravitated towards it. But then when I went and was looking this book up and I read the description on Goodreads, I was honestly slapping myself for never picking it up at the store and just reading the back of the dang book, because the back of the book is just giving me such similar vibes to Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter, which is a book that's a 5-star read for me, and I know it is for a lot of you too. I loved that book. For some reason, I'm getting really similar vibes in the sense that I think I'm gonna love it very potentially the same that I love Better Than the Movies, and I know that that's a bad way to go into a book. I really try not to go into a book with such high expectations, but sometimes it's just unavoidable and you go in with expectations that are literally the size of a mountain and you can't do anything about it. Like I was saying, it's a young adult romance, it's high school rivals to lovers, and they're rivals in everything from grades to student council. And the part of the synopsis that grabbed my attention the most was it said, today she hates him, tonight she puts up with him, tomorrow maybe she's already fallen for him. And I feel like that is just giving that this book is gonna feel fast-paced. Like, is this really only gonna take place over the course of like 24 hours? I really don't know, but I feel like with a YA romance, fast-paced is always good. It's never ever bad. I feel like, at least not in my experience, but I also just have this really weird gut feeling that the banter is gonna be so good and then I'm just gonna really eat up this story and the couple. I'm really excited to give it a read. And again, it's one of your 5-star reads, so I'm hoping I love it for that reason and the fact that it never hurts to have another 5-star read. Am I right? That was kind of cringy, but anyways. Next book is called Starter Villain by John Scalzi. I don't know how to pronounce his name. I'm literally reading it because I'm like, I don't know how to say that. I have literally never heard of this book in my entire life. I was so confused when I looked up this book, what the cover looks like. I was like, what is going on here? However, Bestie Page recommended it, and the reason that I wanted to read it before even looking this book up on Goodreads is because this is what she said, and I quote about this book. I try and make everyone read this so we can talk about the dolphins. You cannot expect me to read something like that and not want to read it, because what does she mean? I'm so confused. What does this book have to do with dolphins, and why does she want to talk about the dolphins so damn bad? What is going on? I don't know. Anyways, it's an adult sci-fi, and apparently we're gonna be talking about dolphins. I have no idea, but I think I'm gonna go into this one blind, so we're just gonna leave it at that. The next book is actually the only other book that I physically own. This book is the biggest book of 2024 or was it 2023? I feel like I have no idea which year it was. One of the two. It's still huge. The third book in the series just came out in January. You know what it is. If you don't, then you must have fallen off the face of the earth the last few weeks, because the book that I am talking about is Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. Now, I do own the holiday edition of this. It is stunning. I love it. I really want to get the special edition paperback because it's beautiful, and I do prefer paperbacks over hardcovers. However, this is stunning. I've had this on my physical TBR for quite some time. Haven't given it a read. Here we are, February of 2025. Hopefully finally giving it a read. But anyways, I know that this is a 5-star read for basically everyone and their freaking mother. So I might just be another victim to this book in this series. However, we're gonna find that out. I also have like literally no idea what this book is about also, and I know I keep saying that and I'm so sorry, but I really don't. All I know about this book is it's a fantasy with some romance and they ride dragons. That's the extent of my knowledge on this book in this universe, and honestly, I do really want to keep it that way. I love going into books blind, but particularly books that are extremely hyped up and like really well loved. I love going into them blind because I feel like I have less of an expectation of how much I'm gonna love it and how the story is gonna go when I know nothing about it. So since I know nothing about this and I don't know any of the plot other than I know they're gonna be riding dragons and there's gonna be some romance. Other than that, I feel like that's really gonna help me to potentially not go in with too high of expectations. That's gonna end up letting me down because I have very little expectations other than I do think I'm gonna love it. Because if there is one thing about me, it is that I do love fantasy and I also really love romance, and I'm also obsessed with dragons. So win, win, win. Am I right? And the next book is Other Birds by Sarah Addison Allen. This is a magical realism paranormal romance. That sounds a little confusing. I honestly don't know. That's just what Goodreads was telling me. But I do love magical realism in books, and especially in romance books. I feel like Ashley Poston is the queen of a magical realism romance, and she is one of my favorite authors. The 7-Year Slip and A Novel Love Story are two of my favorite romance books I have ever read. Those are two books that have really stuck with me that I think I will carry with throughout the rest of my life. And so I'm so excited to read another magical realism romance that is written by someone else and kind of get a different perspective on that genre, and to also just step into that genre a little bit more. I'm really excited about it. I feel like one thing with magical realism is it is just so fun, but also they are typically very deep and at some points heartbreaking and at other points completely heartwarming. And I know that makes no sense, but it does if you've read The 7-Year Slip or A Novel Love Story. But yeah, I really don't know anything about this book, and I know I keep saying that. I'm actually genuinely sorry. However, I don't know if this book is about literal birds or about something completely different, but I do want to go in blind, so that is what I'm going to do. The next book is actually a manga, and I'm so happy that one of you recommended a manga to me because I love reading manga. I think manga are so fun to read, and I haven't read very many of them, but I have loved it every single time. And the one that was recommended to me is A Wolf Children, and I don't know how to say the author's name, and I don't want to butcher it, but it's on the screen. This manga follows our main character, Hana, I believe is how you say her name, and she ends up falling in love with someone in her class at college, and he ends up being part wolf. They end up having children, and then he ends up getting tragically taken from her, and now she has to not only learn to navigate being a single mother, but also navigate raising children that are part human, part wolf. And I think that sounds so interesting. That is so unlike anything I've ever read. If you've never read manga, honestly, I would highly recommend. I think they're so freaking fun. That's that one, and I'm really excited to give it a try. And the last book on my TBR for the month is If Cats Disappeared from the World by another author that I cannot pronounce. This is actually another magical realism fiction, which is cool in and of itself, but this is also originally Japanese literature, which I think is also very cool. We basically follow our narrator whose clock is ticking down, if you get what I'm saying, and he's basically given a choice by the devil that he can live one more day, but one thing has to disappear from the world. And I'm guessing he chooses cats. Could be wrong, but I think that's a fair assumption to make. But that's all I know, and that's actually all the synopsis tells you. The synopsis really doesn't go into much detail, which I kind of love, because we are really left with what is gonna happen in this. Is he really gonna choose cats? Is he gonna choose something else? And I did see a couple of the reviews on Goodreads, and I saw some people rating this 5 stars, saying that this was like an extremely beautiful book, and I'm so excited to read it and just see what the hell is going on in this book, because I'm so confused by the title and the synopsis, but I have a feeling that this might be a really good book, so I'm really excited to read it. But yeah, these are all of the books on my February TBR. I'm so excited to dive into some books that are lesser known, books I've never heard of, and just really dip my toes into different genres and different authors. I think this is gonna be so freaking fun. I think this is gonna be a really fun reading month for me. And if you want to see the reading vlog where I do read a handful of these books, then don't forget to subscribe so you know when that video comes up. And we do have a lot of fun over here, and we would like you to join the fun. If I do just have to say that because I say it every time. Anyways, I love you guys so much, and I will see you in the next one. Peace. I'm so goofy. Why did I start saying the end 2 times in a row? We were never in the park. Intro. Take 2. I'm surprised I didn't spill that. Wow, slay. It's actually, whoa. What was I doing with that? All right. To August ago, I told the truth, oh, but you didn't like, you went home. We should listen to that. He lives, no, not lives, this is live. Character, whoa. August ago, I told the truth. Ma. I need to start talking because it's really quiet in here and I'm feeling a little weird. I'm feeling a little awkward. It's really freaking quiet in here. Holy crap. Has it? Whoa. Ignoring tornado warnings. I don't know why I'm doing this. Is at risk, in danger. I know. The next book is Tonight. Nope, 5-star rates. Whoa, that is how the intro to this song makes me feel. Every single time I hear it in my mind, if I'm not doing it actually, in my mind, I feel like I'm going. And I don't know why. Just listen and maybe you'll understand. I know. Falling off the face of the, whoa, I cannot speak. All right. Do you say, whatever. Sharpest tool in the shed. Beartown, whoa. Face of the earth, whoa. Come to, well, he's not come to. It's up and subscribe. Whoa, I already said that. I think he's on to me every time I say I'm over that son of a bitch. Bye-bye. Love you.